Hey there, Cheesemeisters. Welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and I'm only saying this because I care. There are a lot of decaffeinated brands on the market today that are just as tasty as the real thing. And joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I I love toxic waste.
This movie has great t-shirts. I owned a Surf Nicaragua t-shirt.
Oh,
Like the blue one he wears, the light blue one that says Surf Nicaragua on it. I went and I had that shirt like 5 years ago. Like
okay.
went online and found it because I was like, I want a T-shirt from this movie because I love it.
I think I missed that one.
Yeah, he's wearing it in a couple of scenes. One of them I think is when he's in Jerry's office, and Jerry's, I don't know, being a dick.
mm,
This week, Cheesemeisters, in case you haven't figured it out, we are watching Real Genius, the 1985 commercial for the Jiffy Pop Corporation, starring Val Kilmer, William Atherton, Gabriel Jarrett, Michelle Myrink, and John Grease, Uncle Rico himself. We are watching this in conjunction with Season 3, Episode 7, A Song of Myself. Our spelling connection is, for everyone who knows, obviously John Grease, who plays a role in later seasons that I don't want to say what his role is because it'll give shit away.
oh wait, I need to look him up because I completely forgot that that's our connection,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like,
It's Laszlo.
like,
It's Laszlo. He's the guy who lives in the closet.
oh my god! I was like, the whole time I went, that man looks familiar. Oh my god! I
He has hair. He's not bald, so it's confusing.
Just to preface, I don't know if it's been the weather, if it's, just delightful things about being a woman, but like my brain this week has just been in a fog.
Nice.
Things are not computing. Um, yeah.
It's probably
Like
good
this week,
we're watching a movie about science then, so this is pretty good.
I felt so stupid the whole time. I was like, this is not doing it for me. And now I feel, yeah, it's just going to be a big episode of me feeling dumb, even though I'm not. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think there's a reason to feel dumb because I think most of the science in this movie is probably bullshit. So, like, the fact that you're not following it, it doesn't make any difference.
The director or the writer tried so hard to do this research, but as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, sometimes acting, like the acting parts of your brain and the logical sides, they're just not gonna. You can't go back and forth as easily, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. All right. So I guess you texted me and said this was a weird movie watching experience for you, and I'm wondering why. Like, to describe that, please. What do you mean weird movie watching experience? How was it weird?
So first, I'm gonna say 15 to 30 minutes. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is funny. Yeah, I'm enjoying
Mm-hmm.
this. I'm interested, and then somewhere in the middle, maybe like the next 45 minutes, I just, it's like I was just viewing it and nothing was going through. Nothing was
Oh,
filtering. I was seeing all this stuff happen, and I had completely forgotten the stuff with the government in the beginning, for one thing.
good, good. But continue. I want to talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, I had completely forgotten that. And it was, I think it was getting kind of sad because you see this guy who is, being painted as a slacker,
Mm-hmm.
and he starts to care again, and then, it kind of all blows up in his face. And as an adult, you go, oh, this is why I'm not trying in my own current career path, because anytime I have tried to make it better, no one cares. I meet pushback. I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired. It's
Yeah.
so I think So that's why it was weird. And then, of course, again in the very end, it becomes really funny again.
Right.
And
Interesting.
you've got some 80s tropes in there. Like, you don't have a ton of 80s tropes, but of course, I felt it whenever they threw in the like party with all the beauticians in swimsuits and
Sure.
one random joke about like, oh, you better not eat that or you'll get your boobs will get bigger. Ah, too late. And it's like, well, that came out of nowhere, and that was
No, that is a wonderful pickup line. Like
sure.
that's what it is. That is Chris Knight being like playfully lecherous and trying to pick up this girl.
Yeah.
And it works. Literally picks her up and they walk out of the thing and they don't come back for a long time.
Yeah. I loved the popcorn of it all, but
Yeah.
I can't talk about that more until the what else because there's it's such a beautiful
Gotcha.
what else for me,
Ooh,
and
I like that.
it's what made me feel better about the whole thing. Because again, it's not a bad movie. It's just it'll definitely be one I try again someday. Like if it just pops up on streaming services. Sorry, Ember's like itching against the door and making sounds. You good?
It's all right.
Okay. Um, it'll be one I revisit when it makes itself available
Mhm.
to me in my hour of need. Um, to create a laser beam that will go through the
Yes.
wall if it hasn't already been done, which feel like it must have been.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what happens in this movie. Um, this is about all right. It's about a really smart 15-year-old who has been granted admission into this college program by William Atherton, 80s bad guy galore. Um, taking a break from his work at the Environmental Protection Agency, or um, you know,
Yes.
hounding Holly Gennaro and her family while her husband John McClane is in trouble.
This man has no dick.
That's what I heard. Anyway, he's running this laser thing, and it's like a I don't know experiment. They're trying to get this laser to fire 1.21 gigawatts or whatever the fuck, and it's stalled. And so he's like assigned Mitch, who's the 15-year-old, to this thing, but he's also assigned him to Chris Knight, who is a senior getting ready to graduate. And that's why we're watching this, by the way, in conjunction with the Song of Myself, is because of the freshman buddies. Like Mitch is kind of Chris's freshman buddy.
Yeah.
Herbert to his Steve Sanders. And Chris used to be Mitch. He was like the wonderkind who came in, test scores off the charts, although Mitch's are 20 points higher than his. And but he doesn't seem to give a shit. He's floating through his senior year, taking everything for granted, wisecracking, just trying to have a good time. Which is frustrating Mitch because he's not helping with the project. And then there's Kent, just fucking being Kent all over the getting Jerry's dry cleaning. What? Kent? And then there's the guy who lives in Mitch's closet, Laszlo, who was like Mitch before Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the wonderkind of the 70s, and he worked too hard, never took a break, and he cracked. So he's living in the walls of the dorm, entering a Frito-Lay contest as many times as possible to win a percentage of the prizes, and etc. And they make the laser work. And then Laszlo realizes, oh shit, there's only one thing you could use this for. This is for military operations. They're probably going to try to murder somebody with this. And then all of the theoretical physicians go, oh shit, the practical applications of this are horrid, and we want to take out Jerry, who made us do it. He hates popcorn. We're going to retrain the laser on his house, explode the Jiffy Pop, blow the house up. We're going to do it in front of the news and the people in the university, and Chris needs to graduate, and it's a whole thing, and victory ensues.
That's great.
Yeah. So the prologue that you forgot kind of pissed me off this time. And you're so much better off for having forgot it because this movie works better without it. The movie,
Yeah.
yeah, like the movie starts with this sci-fi shit where like they're giving a presentation on what this laser will do, and then the guy in there goes and leans on Jerry, who leans on the kids, and they work on the laser. So you know that that's what's happening this whole time, and that's why Mitch is admitted early to work on this laser because Jerry's getting this pressure. Um, if you take out all of that stuff at the beginning and you just start with Jerry going to the science fair and offering Mitch admission. Mitch admission is also fun to say, by the way.
Mitch admission.
Why? Yeah, I have to slow it down. It gets a little bit messed up in there. If he just comes and invites him into the school, and then Mitch is working on this project that he doesn't know anything about, and Jerry keeps getting pressure from like mysterious strangers, and keeps putting it on the students. We could spend the first 45 minutes of this movie laughing at Chris's silliness, but also wondering what the hell's going on with Jerry.
Yeah.
And then when Laszlo figures it out, it's a reveal.
Yes.
To not just the people in the movie, the characters, but to the audience as well. And that works so much better. And I'm betting that that's how it was written. And they went, people aren't going to understand this. We got to explain it at the beginning with a spaceship.
It felt like in the beginning of You Only Live Twice, because I'm pretty sure that's where there's...
Okay.
I feel like that's where it starts in space, and, the bad guy has his ship come up and swallow another one.
Oh, yes.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yes.
And, this opening haunts me still. Because that poor man out in the middle of space is like, oh no, they're and he just floats away.
Yeah.
And then we never see anything again in space or about space until the end. Yeah. So this reminded me of that, and now everyone else, welcome to one of Leslie's many delightful little traumas.
You're right about that. I hadn't made the James Bond connection. But those James Bond scenes before the credits of the movie are, correct me if I'm wrong, but almost all meaningless. Almost none of them have anything to do with the plot of the movie after the credits.
It's correct, and it's also very confusing. One of many things making me feel stupid when I'm watching. And I should be at the point now where I've seen enough. I should just watch it and be like, I could go get a drink.
Okay. James Bond movies, the plot doesn't matter at all.
That's true.
I couldn't tell you the plot of, and I've seen every James Bond movie 3 or 4 times. I couldn't tell you the plot of any of them. I remember that I remember pieces. I remember the man with the golden gun has a third nipple, and Tattoo, right? And Tattoo from Fantasy Island lives on the island with him. I remember that Live and Let Die takes place in New Orleans and has Punjab in it.
Oh, that's my favorite.
And I remember that A View to a Kill has the Eiffel Tower scene at the beginning, and it has Grace Jones, and it has the Duran Duran theme song, and it's got the horses and Fort Knox. I remember a lot of stuff that happens in A View to a Kill. Okay. I don't know what happens in any of those movies. I just remember those things. I remember Thunderball has a plane underwater. Moonraker has a space station.
Octopussy's song doesn't involve the title at all, and I'm mad, and I'm going to rewrite it.
By the way, I have a suggestion, actually, that in a few weeks we watch Octopussy.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm going to rewrite it. I need motivation. I need motivation because I was gonna rewrite it in the pandemic, and like most people, after so many months of lockdown, you lose motivation to do anything because what is
Sure.
life?
Right.
But no, I would love a chance to. I would like another knack at
All
that.
right. All right. Well, we'll watch Octopussy in a few weeks, Cheesemeisters. But they have that. I feel like they tack that on there in this movie because they worried it would be too hard for people to follow. But I think it makes so much more sense without it. Like there's
I
just emotional stakes.
agreed, and it's supposed to be a lighthearted movie. It's supposed to be a comedy, and you can still have comedy with some drama, but I just think the opening doesn't really play into the comedic nature of it,
It doesn't.
or the coming of age of it. If you want to
Uh
add that
huh.
in as a subgenre,
Right.
it doesn't add anything.
No, it doesn't. It just dumbs it all down, which is
Hmm.
weird for a movie about genius kids. So whatever. Um. All right. I'm gonna go a long way around here for something.
Okay.
Because this stuff happened out of order, but it all happened last night. So I turned on. We watched Survivor last night, and after it was over, I was chatting with somebody, and I didn't want to put anything on that had any dialogue that I had to follow. So I was like looking at what was on, and I just hit the World Series of Poker. It was on ESPN something or another, Fox something or another channel, and I realized that the World Series of Poker. Have you ever watched poker on TV?
Briefly.
Okay. Um, it became popular about 20 years ago. And the thing that made it be able to be popular was that they invented the whole camera, which is the
Mm.
camera that shows you the cards that the people have. So when you're watching, you know what they have and you understand why they're doing the thing that they're doing, but the other people don't know, and so it adds this level of like insight for you as a viewer that the players don't have, but it makes it work. Because if you're watching poker and you don't know what cards anybody has, then you're just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Like that guy did that and that. Who won? Like you don't, and nobody knows. So that whole camera made it possible to put this on TV, and it arrived fully formed. It looks exactly the same today as it did 20 years ago when the art form of live coverage, not even live, they tape it, whatever, but they can do it live. But coverage of poker for television looks exactly the same now as it did then. And it's because when it was invented, it was the best possible way you could do it. You can't make it better.
Okay.
Like, they put highlights around some boxes now. They changed the color. The font's a little different. There's more advertising. But it's the same. It's a table. It's the whole cam. It's cameras covering the players so you can see them. And it's a couple of announcers giving play-by-play of the game and some Olympics like personal backstory shit so you have somebody to root for. It hasn't changed in 20 years, and that's not true of any other sports coverage. Right?
Okay.
Like it all gets better, you
Yeah.
know. And it's not true of any other invention. Right?
Yeah.
Like planes today, Boeing accepted, are better than the first plane that was invented. Right? They've
Yeah.
gotten better. Same is true for cars. The first iPhone was a miracle, and it sucks compared to iPhone 16 Plus with 17 cameras and a thing and whatever. I don't know. It sucks. It all gets better.
Hmm.
Except for the coverage of the World Series of Poker, which I found fascinating. Like they just nailed this from the start.
No notes.
But right, you did it. We're just gonna keep doing this. Good job, guys. The laser in this movie is the opposite of the World Series of Poker. It's like every other invention that's ever been created. They're putting all of their time and energy into this thing. It's huge. It takes
Hmm.
up a whole room. It has to be put on a plane. It can only run for 7 seconds or whatever they said that it was until it's completely depleted. It's not practical
No.
as a tool. It's not practical as a murder weapon, but it's the iPhone 1. So, like, they got all excited about it, which they should, because the iPhone 1 was fucking cool. Like, this, and I've never seen anything like this. Same thing with this laser. But, like, next year's version of this laser is going to be so much better. And so, like, you watch all this work they put into this to get this thing, and it's never, and oh my God, and this, we fucking popped popcorn from outer space. The next version of that, you'd be able to do it, like, from a drone.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, it'll be light, it'll be easily maneuverable. It's kind of what we do now, except for we use bombs instead of lasers. But, like, this movie was like, I don't know, I watched the laser and I went, yeah, that's version 1. Like,
You brought
pretty
drones.
cool. Yeah.
I know you haven't seen and probably won't watch any of the last couple seasons of the X-Files reboot, but there was an episode last night that was so haunting.
Oh, yeah?
And it's all because Mulder and Scully didn't tip the, like, cyber waiters and cyber chefs.
Oh, wow.
And so basically showing how, like we're all afraid of and hope, well, I mean, we should be afraid. Like, AI, all of that is going to get you. And it's just more and more. I mean, Scully almost gets run off the road in her driverless Uber. These drones are chasing after Mulder. It's scary. And then when he finally tips, everything's like,
oh, nice. That's
eerie.
funny. No, I'm not. I didn't not watch those like for a moral purpose or something. I just like the last season it came on and I just never got around to it. And then I heard it wasn't very good, and then I just sort of but I might watch it at some point.
I think it's worth it. I mean, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Good. I mean, those early seasons fucking kick ass. So, even if the later seasons or whatever.
A lot of the reboot stuff comes up for shows that I've only just now watched. And so it all ends up being low stakes for me.
Sure.
If we want to talk about a Dawson's Creek reboot, okay, I'll probably get pretty impassioned about that and say don't.
Right. Well, you're not getting Jen back.
That's
and you're not getting fucking Potter.
Katie Holmes.
Yeah, but what's her character's name? Potter.
Oh, Joey Potter.
Joey. I was blanking on Joey.
They're all too busy with their own stuff, and that story.
Did you see, by the way, Pacey's new TV show, Doctor on a Boat?
It looks freaky.
It looks like there's going to be an ice cream social, like every episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait.
I can't tell if they're killing people on purpose or what, but it looks freaky, and I don't know. I respect what Ryan Murphy does. I don't think his stuff will ever be for me. I'm just glad Philippa Sue and Joshua Jackson are getting work.
Yeah, now work for Pacey always.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he should be getting more work.
I should be getting more work, but that's just me.
That's facts. How do you feel about being a boat doctor?
I say it. I haven't done it yet, so that sounds more fun than playing a non-speaking bride.
Okay.
Who
don't you just
undead?
Don't you just mean a bride?
What?
Boom! Sexist joke. Oh
no, jerk.
I told a bad joke.
You did. I appreciate it.
I win.
Also, side note.
Yes.
I don't know what it's like where you are, but of course we're getting stuff from Helene. And of course the sky is turning an eerie color. So if I seem distracted, it's just making sure that I don't see a funnel cloud.
Yeah, I hope you don't. I've heard it's not going to be great. All right. So there were a couple of things that I saw when watching this movie this time. And we touched on it in text. I don't remember if we talked about it here, but we did talk about it a little bit when Laszlo burned out. Because what happens for Chris is he sees he had a conversation with Laszlo at some point and was like, oh shit, that's going to be me. If I don't ease up a little bit,
Yeah.
if I don't quit taking all this stuff so seriously, I am going to burn out. I'm going to end up miserable or crazy or both. And I don't want that, so I'm stopping. And Mitch, you need to learn this lesson now. Don't get to Laszlo. Don't even get to where I was before I said, I know I'm just start wearing flip flops.
Yeah.
Like, and so like the story is about kids like learning and progressing and doing all of their work, but also having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And in the backdrop of that is this weird, like, you're creating, a murder weapon. But it's like the characters are trying to find a balance between work and play.
Yeah.
And I love that that's at the heart of what this movie is doing.
Me too.
Because Jerry has no fun. He's fucking everything that moves, but he's not having any fun.
Yeah.
Like, he's miserable the whole time. And then, so he resents Chris, but mostly he just doesn't want to lose his fun day. He's building this giant popcorn machine that he doesn't even know is a popcorn machine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's and then it all of it brings Laszlo out too.
Yeah.
Like, it pulls him out. Now, what ultimately gets him out the door is this chick who's trying to bang the top 10 smartest guys on the world. And I kind of love starfuckery for brains.
Starfucker. Okay, go.
Yeah, like she's out there being a starfucker, but she's not trying to, like, get with like the lead singer of the band or the quarterback of the, I don't know, Tennessee Titans or whoever, or Tom Cruise or whatever. She's trying to get the smartest people in the world. Like, that's who would fill up her punch card. She's just a total starfucker just for brainiacs.
Nice.
And I like it. Because I don't think you see that all that often as side characters. And she finally meets the guy who's been living in the wall, and she's like, let's get in the RV. We gotta roll down the road with the prizes.
Yep.
And then they talked about the, like, how important it is to actually think through the application of what you're working on. And that's a dilemma for scientists all over the place. And that's why Laszlo checked out, right? He found out that what he was working on had been used to hurt people. Mm-hmm. And it was too much. And they're all experiencing the same thing again. And again, because they never for a second thought, hey, what could this possibly be used for? And so maybe we should think about that,
Yeah.
Chris and Mitch and Ick. And I think Ick is the name of the Asian character.
Oh.
Who is, I feel like there was a reshoot involved with him as well, because I don't remember him being in the middle of the movie very much.
Oh.
And then he's like one of the 4 people at the end when they're all like, yeah, we did it. Like, it feels like he was written out of the middle of the movie, but was sort of, he was in all those shots, so he had to stay. Like, he was at the beginning, he did the dry ice goo skating situation.
Yeah.
But he didn't, I don't remember him doing much else. And then he's like, we're all best friends, right, guys? I'm me, Ick.
It could just be that they didn't, like, plan on giving that character more than a beginning and an end. And
right.
Said, oh, we don't need you here for this, and we don't want to pay you. We only want to pay because, to be frank, it is a very, like, white male centered movie. Like,
it is. No, for sure.
They're not hiding from that at all. And it's like, well, you know what you are. It's fine. Like,
I just, like, if it's that, I don't know why he's at the end. I don't know why he's there at the end. He's not needed for plot mechanics to make the popcorn thing work necessarily. but he's
Probably
there,
purely accidental.
maybe. Or like it was there before and you understood it, and then they rewrote half the movie and that part got left out, and so he's just still there at the end going, "We did it, best friends." Kent, don't go inside.
Right? At least you know what happens to him? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean he rides that popcorn out the front door, I suppose. So,
Hey, not the worst way to end a character role. I
um,
would love to do that.
how did you feel about God talking to Kent through his braces?
Again, this is really sad. You're listing stuff and I'm like, I don't
That
remember
happened, I think.
this. That happened. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they wired his braces, and that's how they were like,
Oh,
Kent,
I
this is
remember now.
Jesus.
I thought that was hilarious. And also reminds me, do you know the story about Lucille Ball also hearing like corrupt plots happening through
No.
her? She went to the dentist. Other people look this up. My brain is too dead, and I didn't plan on talking about this tonight, so I don't have the whole story. But she went to the dentist, and I don't know, maybe I don't know what she got done, but clearly something got put in there and
Mm-hmm.
had
Filling
her
or something.
had her picking up radio messages that she
I like
wasn't
it.
supposed to hear. And so she
Oh.
was like, "Am I crazy? Like what?" And they went,
Right.
"Oh, whoops."
Yeah. We got to put in the ones that only get Montavani records. Montavani, for those listening who don't know, is like easy listening. For the kids in the audience who are like, you know what, I want to hear these two sons of bitches talk about? Real Genius, this movie from 1985 I've never heard of.
Yeah.
All right. How much intimacy did you feel in these adventures?
Okay. Not a lot. Yeah, there's not a lot in this. Just like there are not a lot of women in this.
Uh-huh.
Um, I did note it's interesting how they dressed the smart girls versus the less smart. I'm going to say less smart because I don't think the less smart girls were portrayed to be dumb,
Yeah,
but
they were just beauticians in training.
yeah, they're clearly they are portrayed to be yeah, you know what? I was about to say loose, but no, they don't even I wouldn't even say they're portrayed as being loose. They're just portrayed as being like partiers,
Yeah.
like more relaxed women. So, you know,
More relaxed than these dudes, for sure.
yeah. So like Jordan, is that the character's name? Jordan?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jordan versus the other women.
Uh-huh.
She's got a very like I'm going to say asexual haircut, just like straight like
Mhm.
no nonsense. Um and I would say it's pretty covered whereas
Yeah.
the women who aren't in her level of intelligence
Mhm.
uh are less covered. And I
Yeah.
found that to be an interesting choice. Um, Not a great one, but again, it's the 80s and a lot of, this is where we get a lot of tropes or a lot of
Mhm.
tropes that were, listen, stock characters have always been there and they've always been portrayed a certain way. Things just are amplified in the 80s, I
Yeah.
feel like, because it's, you know, again, they're getting used to like what cinema is and what it's going to become.
Mhm.
Let's see. There was a moment where I guess it's the blonde who's with Jeff. Is his name Jeff?
Jerry?
Jerry. Your name just comes up easily.
I understand.
But
It's my government contracts you keep thinking about.
yeah. Uh but she's meeting maybe it's when she meets Chris and
Uh-huh.
she does this lip bitey thing at him and it was
Mhm.
so weird and I went, "Oh, they didn't know what else to tell her." And I thought, what are some other ways that you could have an actor quickly convey interest in another person? It could
Mhm.
be eyebrows. It
Mhm.
could just be like widening your eyes just a little bit, like the things she does felt so much like bite your lip and make it obvious because
Well, she did just ask him if he could hammer a 6-inch spike through a board with his penis. So it wasn't like she was hiding it. She wasn't being subtle with her words either.
I don't know. I didn't think it was very funny.
Yeah.
So, I would say what little they, okay. The director, the people in this movie are doing what is currently happening in the play that I'm in. Because they didn't want to hire an intimacy choreographer or a fight choreographer. Stupid. I'll just leave it at that. Except I won't. But their one of their reasons was, well, we just feel like Dracula is so hypersexualized anyway. We're going to take a lot of the eroticism out of it. Which, okay, you've done, but
right.
Couldn't you? And so I feel like with this, they said, not the whole like, well, we're not going to hire one. We have no idea what that is. But maybe they just didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to make it the focus, which I applaud, since we just talked last week about, like, why did you add romance into a film that didn't need it? Like, this movie doesn't really need it. You have hints at a romance between Jordan and Mitch, and it's adorable. And that's all we need. Like, it doesn't become a thing. You don't have Chris necessarily partnering off with someone. Like, again, there are these little things that come into play, and even though that's not the focus, it's not even really a big subplot. I think to play up the comedy, you still could do stuff, and they just didn't, or at least there wasn't any attention given to it, except for the weird lip bite.
Right. So this was directed by a woman, interestingly.
I saw, which way to go.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this movie is. I mean, the Mitch Jordan love story that happens through the movie is very cute. Like, I really like how awkward they both are around each other. And are you peeing? Yes.
Yeah.
Are you done yet? No, I can't start because I'm here. Yeah, weird. Like,
it's adorable.
I don't know. Yeah, the two of them together are very cute. And I think it's interesting that they centered a neurodivergent female character as the love interest in this movie.
Yeah.
And they don't play her off to be some crazy whack job, or, she's just pretty hyperactive and overly verbose and doesn't quite know that she shouldn't be coming into the men's room to have a conversation while he's peeing, because that's not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But, like, I love her as a character. I think she's super fun. I think she's very sweet. I love that she won't shut up. It's just, I don't know. She's one of my favorite, like, 80s movie girlfriend characters.
Because when you say too that normally when you have these characters, these women characters who are portrayed to be nagging and talking incessantly, I don't know if it's done on purpose or if it just accidentally comes out, but it usually sounds annoying.
Right.
And this actress was either just so conscientious about it, or they were great in directing her. I don't know, but they did such a good job with, like, the choices she was making vocally and the way she was talking. It was never annoying.
Yeah.
It was
it was. And she's operating at it, like, that's kind of an interesting thing in this movie, is that all these characters are operating at slightly different speeds from one another. Like, she's very keyed up. Chris is very laid back.
Yeah.
He's got a very calm energy, but also, like, just not taking it all very seriously. Laszlo is closed in and very quiet and is almost like an energy black hole.
Hmm.
You know, like it feels like he's sucking the energy towards him. Um, and Kent is like spastic, like he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, and but a total suck up, and Jerry has this smarmy energy and speed to what he's doing. And I'd never really thought about it, but they're all vibrating differently, you know? And there's just poor Mitch in the middle of it, just trying to like, I don't know, make a
He's,
laser work or something.
he's the straight man in the comedy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, all this stuff is happening around him. And he's like, well, I can't even with literally any of this. None of it makes sense to me. Um,
Brief, brief little rant. Because
mm,
I was watching, we had the credits going after the movie,
mhm.
and I paused it at one point and I went, does that say hacking consultant? And I thought,
Oh,
okay, fuck, never again. I'm never again gonna listen to people saying, like, well, we can't afford this, we can't afford that, or like, well, there's no need for it, we can come up with it. Like, sure, but also your brain is limited and you should stick to one job per production. So
right.
just, if you don't know what you need, or if you know what you need to tell a story well, get the people who know how
Yeah.
to tell that part of the story.
Hire a hacking consultant for Christ's sake.
That's exactly where I was going, except no.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know who else paused the credits to look at something? Whoever put the trivia on IMDb, or the one who like called out the mistakes,
Oh no.
because somebody pointed out that in as a goof, like this is listed as a goof on IMDb, that they misspelled Hewlett Packard. Like
Wow.
they misspelled the printer company, and they're like, "Gotcha!" Credits of this movie, nailed it. You didn't even know I was looking, but I did. HP, pay me.
Wow.
It's very silly. Um, I knew there was no chance that's where you were going with that, but when you said I paused the credits, I'm like, this is how the fucking Hewlett Packard thing was caught.
Oh,
So,
yeah, exactly. No, it's
yep,
just me once again realizing that, people, again, everyone is willing to pay for whatever they're willing to pay for with a production of anything, but at the end of the day, you want to tell a story right, get all the puzzle pieces needed. Get all the
yep,
storytellers needed to tell the story.
yep,
And that
and then let
includes
them do their thing.
assistant choreographer.
Yes, it does. God damn it!
Yes. Eat
Edict, double edict. Anything else for Adventures in Intimacy, other than Mitch and Jordan are cute?
There is a jailbait moment where like Mitch get hit on by an older woman and there's like implied that there's a kiss or something.
Oh no, no, they fuck.
Do they really?
Yeah, she's checking the people off the list.
See, again, completely went over my head.
Hmm.
You know what?
No, that.
I wish I could go back in time to teenage me who missed all the moments in the books I had to read for English class when people fuck, and then her
Uh,
classmates made fun of her.
mm,
I just want to go back and be like, so I hate to tell you this, but even after you're no longer pure, like you're still gonna miss this. It's okay. It's okay. You need things laid out for you in a way that other people don't.
you know what it is? I keep seeing this like stupid, like you know how you get in like a meme cycle where you catch like the same things like sort of repeatedly, even if you don't interact with them. I got this one that just keeps popping up. That's like if you could tell your teenage self if you could say 3 words to your teenage self, and your 3 words would be like, they all fucked. Just so you know, they all fucked. What do you mean? All of them. They just all of them. And yeah, and then you're reading a book and you're like, they. What about this book? In she was right.
I still stand by my initial opinion though that the two, I'm going to say, main characters in The Awakening don't actually have sex. I'm just
All I
kidding.
remember is the end of that movie. All I remember is the end of that movie. I thought you were gonna.
I hope we get a literary nerd out there who like is listening and then wants to message and to converse about this because truly I don't know who to talk to about it. But I have so many thoughts. Also, help me write my adapted screenplay of this play.
There, I am not your Awakenings sounding board.
That's fine.
That's,
Neither is
that's all
Walter.
I got. Yeah, so I read it once. I get okay. Um, it's a book that I have now read. It ranks among the books I have read.
I like
That's my review.
I have an idea to put it like to do the final scene on stage, and so now I want to write, you know,
Ah,
a play.
okay.
Um,
I like it.
but much like Chris and Laszlo, I am burnt out and wanting to hide in the wall. So
I get that.
help me, investors.
Yeah,
You're my only
bring
hope.
what make it make with the money.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Would you like to go into the closet and close the door and get in the cart and go down the track and ride down the really loud clanking machinery into Needle Drop Forest?
Sure, I'm curious.
So there's two things. There are two songs in this that uh, the one song is let's see. So there's a song called Number One, and it's used at like the montage at the end, towards the end of the movie, that I think is a perfect 80s montage song. Love it greatly. But the one that I forgot about, and I shouldn't have forgotten about it because it's what I should associate this song with more than anything, but I don't, and it's a teenager's fault, is the end of this movie being set to Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, which is a great song. Except, and anyone out there who's a parent who has a teenager or a middle school student, I don't even need to tell you why I'm so bothered by this song now, but I do. It's Skibidi Toilet, and I fucking hate it, and it's the dumbest shit ever, and it ruined that song for me. And look, I just Google up Skibidi Toilet.
No, I won't. I'm not ruining the song.
It is. It's. I there's no describing it other than giant toilets with human heads and necks sticking out of them, and this song is playing all of the time. And they're like, these toilets are going down the street, and I don't understand any of it. But there was about a year and a half ago, this was a thing that Liam fell into, and he just kept wanting to watch it. And I was like, what the? And it was just a bunch of YouTube things. I couldn't hide nor hair. None of it makes any sense. But now kids are saying Skibidi all over the place, and it's because of this fucking toilet business and how they wanted to just ruin Tears for Fears for people. So now, Real Genius, Skibidi Toilet, bussin' no cap.
Oh my god. You know what's okay, so when they started playing that song at the end of the movie, I mean, one, I was delighted because it's a great song. But then this may further, I don't know, this won't ruin it more than it's already been ruined for you. But I don't know if you saw when the Game of Thrones finale aired and people were, you know, mostly disappointed. Someone created like the 1980s movie version of how it ended. And you see Jon Snow leaving, and this music starts playing, and just under each person, there's like a little bit of epilogue, like Jon Snow left and was never heard from again, and no one was mad about it. I don't know.
Right.
That's just my personal little story for him, but it was really funny, and that's now the way I remember the ending.
Well, it's just as applicable for Game of Thrones as it is for Real Genius, because everybody in this movie, the military muckety mucks and etc., trying to rule the world, but we won't let it happen because we're theoretical physicists. Motherfucker.
It's just, man, that song captures a feeling.
It does. but it is a little bit spoiled for me because of the skibbity toilet bullshit. So
That sounds like some early days of the internet oddity, because Walter showed me
yeah,
some stuff from the early days of the internet like last year, and he went, "You've never seen this?" And I went, "No." And he went, "This is from like our childhood." And I went, "Yeah, I was reading." I'm sorry.
that's right. I had books.
Also, to be fair, I also had like a, a teacher for a mother who had very strict guidelines on how to use the internet or how not to use the internet. So I did not do a lot of exploration.
Gotcha. Well, you didn't miss a lot, I wouldn't imagine, other than whatever it was Walter was showing you.
Something about like badger and mushrooms.
Oh, I don't have the first clue. Nope, I missed that too. Yeah, it's fine with me. All right, what else time? Is this anyone's defining role?
Probably Mitch.
Probably Mitch. Yeah, I would
Never
think
see
so.
this kid again.
No. Yeah, Mitch and
Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah, I would say Mitch and Jordan.
Oh, what a shame.
You know, she's sweet. Definitely not William Atherton, although this is like in his oeuvre of 80s bad guy. Like, this is one of the reasons that he is that guy. So this plays into his defining role, because his defining role is 80s bad guy. Definitely not Val Kilmer.
No.
Which are we still on? Have you seen anything else from Val Kilmer that would dissuade you from the Jim Morrison position?
No, I'm still so like flabbergasted. Mm-hmm. I'm so sad now that I ever thought like I don't think I thought he was bad. It's just I don't like Top Gun. And
sure. He's really good in this. He's funny.
He's good in this. He's good in The Doors. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Val Kilmer. Now you're gonna have me watching your Batman, and then that's gonna change everything.
That Batman will not change anything. It's fine.
I mean, it's not like his fault. It's not good.
No, it's just not good. But we will at some point have to watch Tombstone, and he is phenomenal in Tombstone. And our spelling connection is obvious. Jason Priestley is in Tombstone. Yeah. And Tombstone came out in like 92, like at the height of 90210 being huge. And he got a small role in Tombstone. So you can think he went from the Beach Club to Tombstone probably like the same day. You know, that kind of shooting schedule.
Actors from the 80s and 90s must get so annoyed at how soft some of us are now. Like, I'm sure they're just like, we were doing all this going back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And then you have people like me who are like, safety, taking care of yourself and all that. And it's like, I get it. Cause you know, I see stuff changing that I'm like, well, I had to deal with this. And, but wait, no.
Right. That's good. It's good that changed. Yes. It's good you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Jason Bateman went to school on a massage bus. So what are you going to do? 80s Hollywood was a weird place too.
Did you have more people for your what else? Because I'm excited to share mine.
No, tell me your what else.
So I mentioned this to you in text. Because when the house started blowing up with popcorn,
yes,
this is based off of. Wait, I said this is my favorite children's book. So growing up, we went to Dr. Richards, rest in peace, dentistry in Jeffersonville.
Anyway,
thanks to his wonderful waiting area that always had a ton of highlights, magazines for kids, he also had Frank Ash books. I don't know if you know these books at all.
I do not.
They always follow like this little bear, you know.
Okay.
He's the main character. They're really cute. I know Liam's too old for them now, but I highly recommend looking them up because they're just precious. But there's one just entitled Popcorn. And the little bear, Sam, has a Halloween party while his parents go out, and everyone he knows brings popcorn. And so by the end of the night, when they've made all the popcorn, everyone is drowning in it, and they're like, "Ah, no! What do we do? We have to eat our way out of the house."
Nice. I like it.
It's adorable, and I mean, it's about how at the end of the night he never wants to eat popcorn again, but that's what his parents bring home, and
Huh.
I was obsessed with popcorn growing up. That was my reward for when I got good grades, for when I got
Okay.
the Muggy bars by myself. Like, so this popcorn thing was like, I don't know what a happy trigger would be, or the happy version of a trigger, but
Uh-huh.
this was it. So
Nice.
anyone with kids or just wants to look up a delightful children's book, Frank Ash, popcorn, it's cute.
I just Googled him up, and it's, I mean, I guess I was like, his first book called Moon Bear
Yes.
came out when I was 3. So I like, there was a possibility I would have been read that book, but I don't remember that book. And then all the rest of them came out when I was like, too old to read board books or whatever these are, I was just a hair too old for them. But coming after they were already out there, yeah, they would have been perfect. You would have gobbled these things up.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I want to find them all now because listen. There's something about you find the thing from childhood that brought you just immense joy,
Mhm.
and you feel that again as an adult, and you want to chase that feeling.
Absolutely, that's great. All right, what is this the EST of for you?
I feel like this might be the coolest smart guy movie.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely says being smart is cool, and also don't work so hard.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is like
fun of smart kids in the way that a lot of movies do, which I'm so glad. But it also wasn't. It wasn't making every smart kid the same. They weren't a monolith. You know, there were so many varieties, like there would be in real life. Shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. This is the least effective giveaway scheme that anyone has ever gotten themselves involved in. I did there. This was something that was pointed out on the IMDb, but the number of because Laszlo tells you how many entries he's mailing in.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of postage on all of the things that he mailed in, based on the postage rates of like 1995, would have cost him like $231,000, which is more than the value of the prizes he got back, including the RV. So I mean, I don't know, 20 points smart, higher than me, thinks a big guy like that can wear his clothes. This guy had the highest score ever, and he can't figure out that this is a losing proposition. It's a bad move.
I think that should be proof too, that just because you're incredibly smart in mathematics, science,
I put metallurgy, apparently, because he built that whole track system.
You might not have a lot of common sense, or you might be spending so much. Listen, clearly he's burnt out, and the calculator in his brain has just broken.
Yeah.
To the point where it's only spelling out boobs now. Like, that's all he's using his calculator for.
Yep. 58008.
You can also spell my name on the calculator.
What? Your name is Boobs?
No!
Oh. Did I misunderstand? I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't get things. I'm Laszlo.
Me too. I don't know if I'm Laszlo or if I'm Chris, but it was definitely rough watching. Not rough, but it was just, I might be Laszlo in that I'm hiding and burnt out, or I might be Chris in that I'm trying not to be. It's hard to say. Either way,
yeah.
I'm just tired and I'm on a fence.
I think it's healthier to be Chris.
I would say so, but I'm worried that I might already be Laszlo and no one's listening.
But you can always stop being Laszlo. It's like, put on a pair of flip flops and like get a Surf Nicaragua t-shirt or I Heart Toxic Waste. moose your hair a little, I think you're in good shape. And then what you need to do is you need to just take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Take a step forward. No, I was wrong. You take a step back, and then you take a step forward, and a step back, and now we're cha-chaing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of like great little lines dropped in that I appreciate. Still giving yourself shock treatments? Up the voltage. Little things like that. All right. Anything else for this here movie film? Because I think that we did it. I think once again we have proven my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling. Even Real Genius. Yeah.
We did it.
We did. So, Cheesemeisters, next week we're not watching Octopussy. I think it's in 2 weeks that we're watching Octopussy. Next week, I think we landed on Nightcrawler.
Yes, that's true.
Which is a movie I have not seen. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. And then the week after that, Octopussy.
Yes. Young people watching it, you'll know Nightcrawler has Taylor Swift's one of her exes from the Red album. That's who's in that.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
Oh. It's the longest way to say Jake Gyllenhaal I've ever heard, and Gyllenhaal is a long name.
Also, people totally know his name. Like, I don't know. I was trying a bit, and it didn't work, but it's fine. I thought it was funny in my head.
I'm sure that it was. It just, to me, I was like, wait a minute. Was there somebody else in there that I didn't know I don't know anything about the Taylor Swift era boyfriends.
You don't know the 10-minute song about him?
No. Which one is that? Is that the Cardigan one?
No, it's All Too Well.
Okay. Well,
it was a red scarf.
All right. Sorry, you had a scarf, Taylor Swift. But yeah, so I guess we'll get to see her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, in next week's movie.
He's going to be in a movie.
Of course he is.
There's no justice in the world.
And in an era.
It's true. He's
of some sort. Yeah. The Chiefs era.
We don't know what that era is yet, because it hasn't been written yet.
Nope, it hasn't. It's being written in front of us right now.
I know.
All right, but until then, Cheesemeisters. Cheers.